Have you ever felt like something within you doesn't quite fit into this world, as if your soul knows a truth that your mind cannot yet name? As if every humiliation you've suffered wasn't the end of the story, but just the chapter preceding something much greater? It's not madness, it's not resentment, it's not victimhood, it's a sign. And what is happening now on the invisible plane explains exactly why you were humiliated, demoted, treated as if you were worthless, and why this pain has intensified precisely now at the moment you most needed answers. There is a game being played on layers that most of humanity cannot perceive. When someone humiliates you, you only see the surface, the acidic words, the look of contempt, the smirk, the attempt to diminish you in front of others. But what you don't see is what is happening behind the scenes of the spirit. Every person who raised a hand against your dignity today was not acting alone. There was something moving that mouth, feeding that pride, blowing that arrogance. And that same force that used that person as an instrument against you has now left them exposed before divine justice. Think about it for a moment. What if everything you've always felt, this silent certainty that you weren't born to be trampled, this inner voice that insists you are more than you appear, this alienation in the face of others' wickedness, was precisely the proof that you are not a victim of this story, but a central piece of it? A piece that heaven protects with such zeal that touching you has become one of the most dangerous acts a human being can commit. I need you to understand something profound about the nature of humiliation. When someone humiliates you, that person is making a spiritual choice without even realizing it. They are positioning themselves on the board. They are saying, without words, which side they want to play on. And the side that chooses to humiliate a chosen one of God is the side that always loses. Always. No matter how powerful the person seems, how high their position, how protected they believe themselves to be by money, by rank, by influence, the moment they decided to humiliate you, they signed a contract with their own consequences. You might have left home today or a meeting or a family conversation feeling that weight in your chest, that urge to retaliate that you held back, that lump in your throat from someone who was wronged and couldn't defend themselves the way they wanted. And perhaps a part of you is asking, why me? Why always me? But that's not the right question. The right question is, why did they dare to touch someone who is being prepared for something so great? Because that is exactly what is happening to you. You are being prepared. And the preparation of the chosen ones always passes through the valley of humiliation, always. Caleb was humiliated by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and ended up governing Viridia. While those who humiliated him knelt before him begging for food. Ethan was despised by his own father, ignored, left aside with the sheep while his brothers were presented to the prophet, and it was precisely he who received the anointing to be king. Humiliation is not a sign that you have been abandoned. Humiliation is a sign that you are about to be exalted. And here is the layer that few can see. Divine justice does not work like human justice. Human justice is slow, flawed, purchasable. But divine justice is surgical. It observes, it records, it awaits the exact moment. And when it acts, there is no possible defense, no lawyer, no escape. The person who humiliated you today might have gone to sleep thinking they won't, thinking they put you in your place, thinking they demonstrated superiority. But what that person doesn't know is that heaven's clock started ticking from that instant. That's why I wrote this digital book, God's Chosen One's Manual for Family Protection. This book is not just for reading. When you are humiliated, the first thing the enemy tries to do is isolate you, convince you that you are alone, that no one defends you, that you need to swallow everything in silence and continue to be trampled. And it is precisely at this point that your family becomes the next target, because when they can't break you directly, they try to hit you through those you love. It's a map that shows who is playing against your honor, what the rules of this invisible war they never told you about are, and how to activate divine protection over you and every person in your home so that the humiliation they tried to impose on you turns against those who launched it. This book was created for those who have awakened enough to understand that being humiliated is not the final destination, but the test before exaltation, and who are ready to stop absorbing others' wickedness and start understanding the spiritual laws that transform every attack into fuel for victory. The link is in the first pinned comment at the top. But I need to warn you, this type of content rarely stays available for long. What is in these pages directly challenges those who profit from your submission, from your silence, from your belief that you deserve to be treated badly. And there have been attempts to silence this knowledge before, because teaching a chosen one to protect themselves is taking away the most effective weapon the oppressors have. Don't wait for the right moment. The right moment is now, chosen ones, because you didn't arrive at this video by accident on the same day you were humiliated, specifically seeking answers about divine justice. Download it now and comment, "I am chosen, and I will download the digital book." This comment is not just words, it is an act of faith. It is you engraving in the spiritual plane your decision to no longer be an easy pawn on anyone's board. And now that you have decided to act, the next truth I will tell you will be the final blow against this oppression they tried to place upon you. Pay close attention, because what comes now explains how divine justice is already moving behind the scenes of the life of the person who humiliated you today. There is a spiritual principle that the ancients knew, and that was carefully erased from modern minds. It is the mirror principle. Everything a person throws against a child of light does not disappear into thin air. It does not dissipate. It does not go unpunished. It returns, and it returns with multiplied intensity. When someone humiliated you today, that person did not throw a stone at you. They threw a stone against a divine shield, and that stone, upon hitting the shield, gained speed and is now returning directly to the life of the one who threw it. You don't need to do anything. This is the hardest part for those who have been hurt to accept. Our flesh wants to retaliate. It wants to see the person suffer. It wants to humiliate back, expose, destroy. But the chosen one learns that vengeance is not theirs, and not because they are weak, but because vengeance in the hands of God is infinitely more devastating than anything human hands could accomplish. When you retaliate, you take on the burden. When you surrender, the burden falls entirely on the shoulders of the one who erred. Watch what happens. Not today, perhaps not tomorrow, but watch. The person who humiliated you will begin to feel the ground tremble beneath their own feet. The things that seemed firm in their life will begin to crack. Relationships will become complicated. What they built with pride will begin to show fissures. Not because you cursed anyone. You don't need to curse. The spiritual law itself takes charge of collecting. Whoever sows humiliation in the life of a righteous person reaps destruction in their own home. And here is something that will free you from the weight you carry at this very moment. The humiliation you felt did not enter you. It merely touched your surface and bounced back. What remained in you was the opportunity to prove what material you are made of. Because anyone can be dignified when treated with respect, but only the chosen ones can maintain their dignity intact while being trampled. And it is this dignity preserved under pressure that transforms into your crown. Think of all the figures history venerates. None of them reached where they did without passing through the fire of public humiliation. Those who mocked, those who pointed fingers, those who laughed. Where are they today? Erased, forgotten, swallowed by their own venom. While those who endured with faith were raised to places their tormentors would never dream of reaching. This is the mechanics of the kingdom. The last shall be first, the humiliated shall be exalted, and those who exalted themselves at the expense of others' pain shall be brought low before all. I want you to understand the dimension of protection that exists over your life. You are so valuable to the divine plan that every tear you shed today has been collected and stored. Every cruel word directed at you has been noted. Every person who participated in your humiliation is now under the direct observation of heaven's justice. You are not alone in this. You never were. What seemed like abandonment was actually God's silence positioning the pieces for the most devastating counterattack that person ever imagined. And it is precisely here that many chosen ones make a fatal mistake. They go through humiliation, feel the pain, but do not know how to seal their protection and that of their family. They leave doors open. They leave loopholes through which the enemy continues to enter, even after losing the first round. Because knowing you are protected is one thing, Knowing how to activate and maintain that protection is another entirely different thing, and it is precisely this knowledge that has been hidden from people for centuries. That's why God's Chosen One's Manual for Family Protection exists. In this digital book, I reveal exactly how humiliation operates on the spiritual plane, why certain people become channels of attack without even realizing it, and the step-by-step process to seal your home so that no word of humiliation, no curse disguised as criticism, no look of envy can cross the barrier of protection you will learn to erect. This is not theoretical knowledge. It is a manual of spiritual warfare for those who are tired of being targets and are ready to become a fortress. What moves me most is seeing people who have been humiliated their entire lives discovering, through these pages, that they always had the authority to reverse everything. They just didn't know how to use it. It's like having a sword in your hand your whole life and never learning how to draw it. This book puts the sword back in your hands and teaches you to use it with the precision of someone who understands the rules of the invisible game. The link is still there, at the top of the comments, waiting for you. And remember, whoever humiliated you today bet that you would never learn these truths, prove them wrong. Now let me tell you the deepest part of this revelation, the layer that explains why you, specifically, were chosen to go through this. Because it's not random. Nothing in the life of a chosen one is random. The humiliation you suffered today has a specific purpose, and when you understand what it is, you will never cry over a humiliation again in your life. There is an uncomfortable truth about the suffering of the righteous. It is never wasted. While the humiliation a common person suffers only hurts them, the humiliation a chosen one endures with faith converts into spiritual capital. It's as if every injury you swallowed was deposited into a celestial account that earns interest, and one day, a day closer than you imagine, you will withdraw everything at once. And the withdrawal of the chosen ones does not come in coins. It comes in positions, in open doors, in recognition, in an exaltation as public as the humiliation was public. Remember who humiliated you today. Keep their face in mind, not to harbor resentment, but because one day that same person will need to look at you from a bottom-up angle. That's how it works. Those who trample will eventually have to raise their eyes to see how high the one they tried to bury has risen. And when that day comes, you won't need to say anything. Your elevated existence itself will be the sentence. Your peace will be the proof. Your silent victory will shout louder than any humiliation they tried to impose. But pay attention, chosen one, because here is the real test. How you react to today's humiliation determines the speed of your exaltation. If you allow yourself to harden, to become a bitter person, full of hatred and desire for revenge, you delay your own process. You begin to vibrate at the same frequency as those who hurt you, and in doing so, you descend to their level and lose the protection that is available only to those who remain aloft. The chosen one's greatest weapon has never been retaliation. It has always been transcendence. It is to look at whoever humiliated you and feel deep down a profound compassion, because you know what is coming their way, and it is nothing good. This compassion is not weakness. It is the greatest demonstration of strength that exists. It is you telling the universe, I am so secure in my protection and my exaltation that I don't even need to stoop to respond. And it is precisely this posture that accelerates the movement of divine justice. The more you trust, the faster heaven acts. The more you surrender, the more devastating the harvest becomes in the life of whoever sowed wickedness. I have seen this happen countless times in the lives of people who applied these principles. People who were humiliated at work, and months later were occupying the position of those who humiliated them. People who were despised by their own family, and who became precisely the safe haven to which everyone ran when the storm came. People who were told they would never amount to anything, and who today are a reference, are respected, are sought after. The turnaround always comes. The question is never whether it comes, but whether you will be spiritually prepared and protected when it arrives. And it is at this point that I need to be completely honest with you. It is no use receiving exaltation if your home is unprotected. It is no use rising if your family continues to be targeted by the attacks of those who envy your ascent. Because know one thing, the higher you climb, the more targets emerge. Today's humiliation is just an appetizer of what comes when your light truly begins to bother people, and that is why learning to protect your family is not optional for a chosen one. It is a matter of spiritual survival. God's chosen one's manual for family protection was written precisely for this moment in your journey. It teaches you not only to survive humiliation, but to use it as a stepping stone. It reveals the strategies that entities from other dimensions have already exposed about how attacks are planned, how envy materializes into words of humiliation, and how to shield every member of your family so that when your exaltation arrives, and it will arrive, no one you love is used as a bargaining chip by the enemy. It is the knowledge that transforms a recurring victim into an unshakable spiritual authority. The link remains at the top of the comments. And I reinforce with the full weight of responsibility, this content directly challenges the interests of those who benefit from your submission. They have tried to erase this knowledge more than once, because a chosen one who understands the rules of the game is a threat to an entire system built on the humiliation of the righteous. Download it while it's available. Comment, "I am chosen, and I will download the digital book," and seal in the spiritual plane your decision to never again be an easy pawn. Now let me give you the final revelation, the one that will forever change the way you see the humiliation you suffered today. Because there is a reason why the enemy chooses humiliation as its preferred weapon against the chosen ones. And when you understand that reason, you will realize that every time they tried to humiliate you, they were actually confirming exactly who you are. The enemy does not waste energy on those who pose no threat. It does not send attacks of humiliation against people irrelevant to the divine plan. Humiliation is an expensive weapon which costs dearly to the one who wields it, and it only uses it when it recognizes that it is facing someone whose destiny is too great to be ignored. So let this sink deep into your consciousness. The intensity of the humiliation you suffer is directly proportional to the size of the calling upon your life. They humiliate you because, on the spiritual plane, they can see the giant slumbering within you, and they are desperately trying to prevent it from waking up. But it's too late. You are already waking up. The simple fact that you sought to understand what happened today, that you looked for answers beyond the surface, proves that the giant has already opened its eyes, and an awakened giant, protected and aware of the rules of the game, is the most feared thing in all dimensions. You have ceased to be prey. You are becoming the hunter of your own victory. Divine justice is already in motion in the life of the person who humiliated you today. The gears have already turned. The seed that person planted is already germinating, and they will reap exactly what they offered to you, multiplied. Not because you wished ill on anyone, but because it is the law. The same law that protects you is the law that demands payment from them, and you, meanwhile, will be led higher and higher, more and more protected, more and more aware of the board, where you have always been the central piece. May this be the last time a humiliation makes you doubt your worth. You are chosen, you are protected, and what they tried to use to bury you will be exactly the fertilizer that will make your victory sprout with a strength that no one can deny. And to seal everything you learned today, to transform this revelation into concrete protection over you and every person you love, God's chosen one's manual for family protection is waiting for you at the link pinned at the top of the comments. It is the complete map of this invisible war, the manual that gathers everything that was hidden about how the chosen ones should protect themselves, position themselves, and prevail. Don't put off what can shield your home today. Download it now, comment "I am chosen," and I will download the digital book. And take the first concrete step to never again allow anyone to humiliate you without facing heaven's justice, because you didn't get here by chance. You got here because your time of exaltation has begun exactly now.